Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Tiara. I'm joined here by Justin Cook, who is the Director of Demand Gen at Qgiv, and also Brittany Bedford, who is a wonderful Customer Success Manager. So today I'm going to be going over some on-site event management tips and strategies to help your event run smoothly and engage your event attendees. So a few housekeeping notes before we get things really getting started. We are recording the webinar, so all registrants are going to receive an email tomorrow afternoon with a link to the session, as well as some additional resources. You can use the chat for any general discussion and to talk with your fellow fundraisers who are on the webinar today. And if you have any questions, we'd love to hear them so we can get them answered. You can add those into the Q&A tab in the chat. And if you're having trouble with the Q&A tab, don't even worry about it. Just drop your questions in the chat and we'll keep track of them and answer them at the end as well. And if you use social media, please feel free to share any highlights or your favorite takeaways from the webinar and give Qgiv a follow. So like I said, my name is Tiara. I am the product marketing coordinator here at Qgiv. I've been with Qgiv for about 2.5 years, and I love researching fundraising best practices, helping nonprofits level up their fundraising game, all that jazz. Outside of work, you can find me at a concert, watching movies, playing trivia, and hanging out with my 2 senior dogs. So let's go ahead and get into what we're covering today. So managing events on site can often feel like you're trying to herd cats. So today we're going to focus on the core elements of on-site event management to try and help. I want to help take you from looking like this to looking like this. So today we're going to take a look at how to create the best event experience for your attendees, how to prepare your volunteers to be successful, how to delight and recognize your sponsors, how to plan for and mitigate potential risks, and how Qgiv's event management tools can help. Our main focus is to provide you with an overview of things to be thinking about for your event for each major group of people attending your event. So we're going to be looking at your event experience from the perspective of your attendees, volunteers, and sponsors. You're going to notice throughout the webinar that most of the things that you need to do to manage your event on site is planning and implementing tools to make sure your event runs smoothly. So we'll start by covering the planning stage right before your event at a high level. Then we're going to move on to providing tips on how tools can help along the way. And then we're going to discuss briefly about what happens during the day of your event. So before we take a deep dive into managing on-site logistics and how to stay organized, let's go over some of the common event challenges you could face when planning and hosting any type of on-site event, whether you're planning a peer-to-peer 5K or an auction benefit or just a gala, any kind of on-site event. Before the day of your event arrives, you have to get your supporters to register to attend your event. So figuring out the best way to invite your donors to your event and then accepting their registrations is going to give you your best chance at meeting that registration goal. Once your supporters are registered for your event, you actually have to get them there. Just because someone's registered doesn't mean that they always show up. And then when the big day arrives, your focus is going to be on managing on-site logistics and making sure your event flows smoothly with minimal snags and crises. And you're also going to be trying to stay as organized as possible when it comes to making sure everything during your event proceeds as planned. Your volunteers and staff are on top of their duties, and your attendees are just having the best time. And then once all of your attendees have made it safely home and you've broken down your event, it's time to reflect on everything that's happened. So you'll be taking stock of all of your data, crunching numbers, tracking receipts, and sending out those it's so important thank yous. It might seem like the work never ends, but with the right tools and strategies, it can be easier than you think to overcome a lot of these challenges. So during this webinar, we're going to be focused on the on-site logistics of your event and staying organized throughout the event planning and hosting process. So let's set the stage first for the next few sections. When I say before your event, this is about 1 to 2 weeks before, and we're going to cover specific things that you can do before your event for each audience. So at this point in your event journey, you should have already figured out the key components of your event, like finding a venue, securing sponsorships, picking vendors and entertainment, sending a call to volunteers, and so on. So let's start at looking at things during the crunch time of your event, and basically the final things to cross off before the big day. So the first thing to start with is a checklist. I love a good checklist. It helps me identify what I might have missed or overlooked when I'm getting a project done, and it also helps me track my progress along the way. And as an events coordinator, you have a lot of things on your plate. So you need to decide what needs to be delegated and the things that are your personal responsibility that you personally need to check on. So that includes things like volunteer, entertainment, and vendor coordination. You most likely were heavily involved in this part of the event planning, but make sure to cross your T's and dot your I's on when everybody's arriving, making sure where they need to get set up, they understand all of that information with your event layout, and show them the outlets they'll have access to, give them Wi-Fi information, all that jazz. And as we get closer to the event, we'll want to start getting our technology implemented for a test run. So that includes checking your Wi-Fi signal, testing your laptops, and taking your event apps for a spin before anything gets started to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Then, following the same theme, you need to get the sponsor signage up in the venue for a walkthrough. Something to add to this checklist to ensure you're following through on all sponsorship benefits that you outlined when you recruited your sponsors and got them signed up to support you. So besides signage, how else are your sponsors involved in the event? Are they setting up their own tables or booths? Are you planning on doing sponsor callouts throughout your event? You need to pay special attention to make sure all those things are planned out with care and that they have a dedicated spot in your event. Putting the spotlight on your sponsors is going to make them super happy and help you craft strong relationships with them. So if you approach them in the future for more event sponsorship opportunities, they're going to recall how much you valued them in the past. You also need to consider your event venue layout. You want to craft your layout in a way that keeps the room moving and has visual interest as well. So make sure it's easy to get in and out for both safety reasons and for the convenience of your attendees. And you should also think about where popular stations are being placed and strategically place items or asks on the path to those stations. So for example, if you're hosting an auction, try placing the auction item tables on the path to the bar so folks will see it as they walk by. They might not stop initially, but they will know that it exists and it will increase the likelihood that they come back later to place a bid. Now, when it comes to registering for your event, your online event registration experience is so important. It sets the tone of your event and can make or break your supporters' decision to sign up to attend. So prior to your event page is going to be the primary source for your attendees to find all the information that they need about your event. So add details about your event like start time, location, dress code, entertainment and activities, and any other important information pertinent to the big day. Showing the value of attending your event with your event page is going to encourage your supporters to take their mouse over to that register button and sign up to attend. Now, having the ability to personalize your page to reflect your organization and your mission is essential. And this is something you can easily do with Qgiv's event registration software. So you want to add storytelling elements like pictures and videos that detail how your fundraiser is going to benefit your mission, and that will give your supporters a clear reason to attend and show their support by donating. Now, if this is a recurring event, you can also add pictures and videos you've taken from past years to show your registrants what they can expect and how much fun they'd have if they attended. And don't forget to add a donate button as well for those that can't attend but still want to give. And if it's available with your event registration software, add an interactive map and an add to calendar button to your page. An interactive map is going to make it really easy for your attendees to find the location of your event. And an add to calendar button means your attendees can add your event to their calendars with just a click, so they can plan ahead and won't forget when the big day rolls around. Now, if you want attendees to have a great experience, it's important that they have all the information they need to understand the flow of your event and what they can do to get into your event and to the fun faster. So send parking instructions, check-in information, and what they need to get in quickly, and the event timeline before your event. You want to post this on your event site, social media, and email blasts, and anywhere else your attendees will be sure to see it before the party gets started. Having that information ahead of time means your attendees know what they have to look forward to and won't be taken aback by any surprises. And don't underestimate the importance of even the smallest bits of information you're providing. Even the smallest details can be so helpful. So for me personally, having parking information is so important. I've got parking anxiety, so I'm always scoping out parking situations on Google Maps before I head somewhere I've never been, so I know whether to mentally prepare myself for a stressful parallel parking situation and a half-mile trek to my destination, or if I'm going to have a nice big parking lot nearby where I know I'll be guaranteed an easy spot. Now, as a tip, try offering early check-in to your event and provide an incentive for attendees to check in early, like an extra raffle ticket or a free drink ticket. With at least some of your events checking in early, your check-in lines are going to move a lot more quickly. And as another tip, you should also monitor your email sends and create lists for registrants that have and haven't engaged with your communications. So that way you can track who's taken the action you're asking them to take, and then send extra reminders to the people who haven't yet checked in early or seen your pre-event information. Now, during an event walkthrough, you want to pretend you're an attendee. So you want to walk through your event venue, sit in the seats, and then identify trouble areas as well. You want to also enlist your staff and volunteers to help do this as well. The more, the merrier. You want everyone to have an enjoyable experience. So do this to help build your event layout and the overall experience. Now, during this walkthrough, you want to test your technology. Are the devices that need to be connected to Wi-Fi connected to Wi-Fi? Is it clear where to find people quickly to check in? Can you accept credit cards? And if you're using a credit card reader, is it working correctly? Depending on your volunteers' roles, they also may be in a position where they're the ones handling technology at your event. So make sure those volunteers have training on the platform that you're using. Before your event, if you're using Qgiv, Qgiv offers free training for you, your staff, and your volunteers from our customer experience team, so you can be successful with your event registration and management tools and not have to worry about putting together a full volunteer training program by yourself. You also want to run example scenarios to prepare for the worst. If you can't find someone at check-in, how do you handle that situation? And how can you mitigate that happening before it does? If a credit card reader isn't working, do you have an alternative way to accept credit card payments or easy alternative payment methods? How will you deal with unruly guests? Any scenario you can think of, test yourself ahead of time so you'll be prepared if it actually happens. And if you didn't have a separate meeting with volunteers before, this is a great time to educate them. So make sure they're invited to the event walkthrough. You can also get them involved and act out their responsibilities so they know what's expected of them. And that applies to your staff too. So make sure your staff members know what to do and what their responsibilities are throughout the event, especially if they're working multiple shifts across different event areas. You'll also want to run through key on-site functions like your check-in area and food and beverage areas as well. If your food area is situated as a buffet, make sure the flow of traffic is clear and that all of your dishes are lined up in an order that makes sense and avoids bottlenecking. And if you have a bar, make sure to give the area ample room for people to congregate and line up to get their drinks. As a pro tip, meet with your vendors on site a day or so before the event so they understand the layout and the full list of supplies they'll need, especially for table or tent or chair vendors or caterers. So for example, where is your DJ going to plug in? Are you going to need an extension cord for that station? Knowing that information ahead of time means you can be prepared with the right supplies when your event day arrives. And lastly, you'll want to go through a final run of show check with your whole group of staff and volunteers. Run of show is basically a full walkthrough of your event's timing within the agenda. So you'll speak through your event agenda out loud with the group and ask questions to make sure there is no confusion with anyone working your event. Now, the first audience that we're going to be thinking about is the attendee experience. They are the largest group of people going to your event, and so taking a look at how to provide the optimal experience for them is crucial. You'll need to consider what touch points could be a negative experience and what touch points you can use to enhance their experience as well. These are important things to think about as we're driving new registrants and cultivating recurring event attendees. So the first step is to understand what attendees expect. The flashy stuff may be great and create a super engaging experience, but if you don't do the basics right, the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. Your attendees might be so annoyed or upset about the things that went wrong that it's hard to change their opinion about their experience. So both the flashy stuff and the basics are important, but if you don't do the basics right, you've already lost your attendees. So what do attendees expect at all event types? The first thing is short lines. I don't know anybody that actually likes to wait for anything, and there's a reason why fast passes at amusement parks sell so well. People actually pay not to wait. So if you can, have multiple lines set up at check-in and recruit enough volunteers and staff to have multiple lines going at stations and areas where it's also appropriate. Attendees are also going to expect the freedom to move around with space to sit and walk around comfortably and see the main event. So take note of any potential view obstructions at your venue when making your table seating chart and layout so you can work around them. One of the worst things is going to an event and realizing you can't even see the entertainment. Now, providing your attendees with an inviting and engaging experience makes them more likely to donate during your fundraiser and attend an event in the future. So you should also provide them with information about your mission and campaigns. They are supporting you. They want an update on how things are going and where their donations are being used. So what have you accomplished with their support? Make sure to let them know. Now, this isn't an exhaustive list. Attendee management can look different for any type of on-site event, including auctions and peer-to-peer fundraisers. So for example, if you have an auction, you want to give your supporters easy ways to bid and claim items. With auctions, you also need to consider the checkout process in addition to check-in. Long checkout lines at the end of the night can easily turn a positive event into a negative experience. So streamlining checkout with digital payment methods and instructions on how to claim auction items ahead of time can really help there. And if you're hosting a race or a peer-to-peer event, your participants need to know where to check in and how they can track their progress. So giving your fundraisers personal fundraising pages and a dynamic peer-to-peer event page is going to help them find everything they need to count their participation and fundraising efforts as a success. Now, a famous Prussian military commander once said, "No plan survives first contact." There are going to be things that you just don't think about or can't plan for. It's inevitable, but you can start your plan and set yourself up for success by creating a virtual layout of your event venue and then testing it. So add tables and seats, food and drink stands, place sponsorship banners, give important staff areas enough space like check-in and check-out, and take note of any venue obstructions like pillars or columns. Once you've gotten your table layout in place as well as you can virtually, it's time to test it in real life during your walkthrough. So there are some things that you probably need to look for in your walkthrough. First of all, does the flow of traffic make sense? Are there areas where your attendees might get confused about where to go or where the ends of lines are? Where are people bottlenecking and where are the crowded areas? Are there any busy areas that you can anticipate that might be too packed for people's safety or ease of movement the way that your layout is planned right now? Will a long line or a game or activity placed in a certain area disturb the traffic flow? For some activities or tables, you might need more of a separation from the rest of your event space to avoid disrupting other attendees who aren't participating or waiting in line. And then, are wires or cords or any other technology in the way? Are there any potential tripping hazards you can identify? Safety is paramount at any event. Now, lines at your event go hand in hand with layout. In a perfect scenario, you don't have lines overlapping in the venue, like food and beverage lines running into each other, or with other key components like lines running into the stage or tables. But what can we do to help reduce line size? The first thing is to streamline your lines. So for check-in and check-out, attendee management apps are going to help you quickly search for and find an attendee to check them into your event, manage their pending purchases, and quickly check them out. For purchases, you can use credit card readers to accept cards on site like we've discussed before. You can also set up multiple lines, so like a credit card only line and a cash only line to manage different payment methods more efficiently. Then you want to coordinate with your vendors. They need to know how many people you are expecting so they can properly staff and have enough food and drinks on hand for everyone. You also want to work on cross-training your staff and volunteers. You have main responsibilities for everybody, but they need to be ready to move to a more important responsibility if needed. So giving them that extra training ahead of time means they can jump in wherever they're needed without too much delay. Now, sometimes lines are unavoidable. So is there maybe an activity you can place in the area of the line? Maybe there's signage to educate attendees about your mission or beneficiaries. There's only so much you can do, but having things like signs and champagne passes while people are waiting is a really nice touch. Now, managing your attendees and optimizing your event layout and lines can be difficult, and that's where fundraising tools like Qgivs can really help you make the process seamless and efficient. One way to do this is by managing your attendees before and on-site through a virtual terminal that is easily accessible through a laptop or an app on your smartphone. This tool will allow you to quickly search attendee information, check in at the entrance, check out at the end, and even accept purchases and donations in real time. The best part is that it's super easy to train staff and volunteers on the virtual terminal, saving you time and enabling you to focus on delivering an unforgettable event experience for your attendees. To make transactions even smoother, you can also streamline the process of accepting payments through card readers, which will reduce waiting time for guests, ensure that transactions are processed securely, and map all transactions back to the attendees so you have accurate receipts after your event. There are many mobile card readers out there to choose from, but also make sure to have ways to accept alternative payment methods. While many people are cashless and don't always take their checkbooks everywhere they go, make sure to still cater to people's payment methods of choice if they don't use cards or if your card reader technology unexpectedly stops working. Another helpful feature that we have is the ability to create a virtual layout of your event space, including tables and seating arrangements. This helps to optimize the flow of your event and ensures that guests can move around easily and efficiently. Qgiv, you can create a virtual layout with our table and seating management tools to start working on those optimizations before your tables and chairs even arrive at your venue. The final piece of attendee management is the atmosphere. You want to create an engaging experience that's inclusive to your attendees and provides a positive experience to everyone, and then test those things before your event. So the first thing, check the noise level. How does it sound to everybody who might be standing in the bathroom? And is it too loud for the people that are standing in the front? Then you want to do a check for Wi-Fi and power. Running into technical difficulties during your event can easily kill the fun, so making sure everything is stable will help you keep things running smoothly. Then you want to determine the best agenda for your run of show. Does the flow of activities make sense? Are your volunteers and staff running around and struggling to get from one portion of the event to the next? Knowing these things ahead of time can be really helpful. You also want to create contingency plans for emergencies or if vendors and entertainment falls through. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. You also want to be mindful of the accessibility and dietary needs of your audience. So having a sign language interpreter, setting up wheelchair and walker accessibility, clearly indicating allergens and other food and beverage related needs, and providing alcohol-free options, make sure that all of your attendees are taken care of. You also want to make sure that you have ways to highlight your fundraising efforts as well with some fundraising engagement tools, which we'll get into a little bit more here. So one of the most important keys to a successful event is keeping your supporters engaged and informed about progress towards your fundraising goals. One great way to do this is by using customizable fundraising thermometers. These visuals help show your attendees how close you are to reaching your goal while also encouraging them to contribute towards it. You can also use a live screencast to showcase your fundraising progress. This can highlight donation activity and generate even more excitement around your event. Using text fundraising can also improve engagement further. So you can accept pledges and send event updates directly to your supporters' phones, making it easier for them to stay involved and up to date on the progress of your event. These tools can be extremely valuable in promoting transparency and engagement with your attendees. So by utilizing these on-site event management tactics, you'll be sure to keep your supporters all informed while making progress towards your fundraising goals. Now, while the attendee experience might seem like the most important part of your event, nothing would be possible without the support and efforts of your volunteers. And many of them are probably donors to your organization as well. So making sure that they have a positive volunteer experience will help you build long-lasting relationships and get them excited about coming back to volunteer for your next event. Now, similar to attendees, your volunteers have expectations as well. They're a crucial part to your nonprofit, not just for events, but in other areas too. So it's important to take care of them when they're volunteering their time. So what do volunteers expect from you? Well, the first thing is giving them clear information about what they are doing, among other things. So for those responsible for using your fundraising tools, ask your provider if they have easy to understand instructions on how to use them. This will empower your volunteers and help you address any questions beforehand. Qgiv has an extensive library for you to use and free training and support in this area. You also want to make sure that they know who is a part of the dedicated staff they can approach for questions. Delegating leadership roles frees you up to focus on the bigger picture when things get busy and leave those smaller details in the capable hands of your staff members. When you're delegating, just make sure you're giving your staff members the appropriate amount of responsibility. You don't have to delegate one person for every single little thing. Just be clear about who the events are that can answer questions before, during, and after your event. It also helps to give your volunteers a full list of staff on site and what their duties are, so they aren't asking several people the same question and being continuously redirected to someone new. Now, you also need to provide your volunteers with clear communication about any changes, preferably well before your event. But things happen, so make sure you're communicating about what's going on. You won't be able to run a smooth event if your volunteers are in the dark about changes to the parts of the event that they're helping with. To avoid a lot of confusion and questions at your event, you should make sure everyone knows what they're doing. So some really helpful things that I've experienced for events when volunteering for events include getting an information packet on my job responsibility. So after sign up, I was assigned a role, and then I was sent an information packet, which included a list of job responsibilities, a map of the venue and where I would be working, my shift time, and information about the event and organization so I can answer basic questions. It doesn't have to be a physical packet. You can send this out via email or a link to a page, just as long as they have all that information. We also had a volunteer meeting in which we could see who the event leaders were and also ask any kind of questions that we have for the event. You also want to test your volunteers with different scenarios. So are they prepared for what to do if bad weather moves in? What should they do in the event of a medical emergency? And also identify who the best person is to turn to for questions with each scenario. Now, with the right tools at your disposal, you can bring your volunteer experience to the next level and ensure that your events run smoothly. So volunteer management tools like Bloomerang's mobile volunteer app can help you stay organized and give your volunteers a positive experience at your event. A good volunteer management app will offer several benefits, the first of which is real-time communications. With this feature, you can communicate with your volunteers in real time through the app, getting rid of the need for email and phone tag. Push notifications are really, really helpful here. With these, you can keep your volunteers updated on event changes or emergencies through their mobile devices. And fail-proof communication is also guaranteed with the app, meaning that if your messages will always reach your intended recipients. So if your volunteers don't have the app downloaded, any notifications you send out will automatically send as an SMS message. And if they don't have a mobile number or didn't provide one, the message is going to automatically send as an email in that case. So your volunteers will always be able to get the messages that you're sending out. Segmentation is also an essential feature of volunteer management apps, which allows you to organize and manage your volunteers based on various categories. It could be by their age, skills and expertise, or location, among other things. You'll be able to broadcast a message only meant for people working in a certain location at your event or people with certain qualifications without buzzing volunteers that don't fall into that category that you're targeting. So this is really great for emergencies, when you need to relocate groups of people, alerting the team about an unruly guest or husband that's wandered off, any situation that might need the attention of your volunteers during your event. Now, this also includes powerful scheduling tools. So powerful scheduling tools make it easy for you to schedule and manage your volunteers' time during an event, and for your volunteers to view their own schedules and responsibilities. So the first thing is self-sign-up. This streamlines the volunteer recruitment process. With this, volunteers can directly apply to work at your events and view and sign up for open shifts that they're most interested in and that work best for them. This makes it super easy for them to commit to a cause, and then also for you to manage them. Easy check-in and check-out is also another essential feature of a volunteer management app. You can check volunteers in and out of their shifts with just a swipe, and easily view an overview of volunteer attendance and hours worked. And then problem area alerts. These are a super important feature to have. The system will let you know who is scheduled but not checked in yet, and what areas of the schedule are currently in trouble or understaffed, so you can deploy volunteers to help wherever they're most needed. Now, every audience is important, but you do want to take extra care of your sponsors. In the same theme, we want to cultivate and provide value to those returning sponsors and show new sponsors what to expect year after year. The first part of sponsorship management is determining what you're providing sponsors based on their contribution and then clearly communicating those benefits. So you can do this by first creating a sponsorship packet with benefits based on their sponsorship level. So what level of sponsorship comes with a table or a booth? Are your sponsors sponsoring a portion of the event? Will they show up on certain signage? Following through with these benefits after offering them is so important. So if you're offering sponsors booth and table spaces, make sure you have enough room for that in your event layout. You'll have limited venue space, so determine how many spots you're offering at each level of sponsorship that you need to fill. Also, make special note of sponsor benefits and create tasks for yourself or your team members to check that everything is getting done. And don't forget to create a sponsorship receipt. I highly, highly recommend providing all of your sponsors with a sponsorship receipt that includes an itemized summary for their tax purposes. And then you also want to make sure to thank them. So give them a call, write a handwritten note to thank them with a little extra attention and a personal touch. If they're attending your event, greet them on site and get to know them. Now, giving your sponsors a sponsorship packet will help them give them transparency about your organization and what they can expect from sponsoring your event. There are over 1.5 million nonprofits registered in the US alone. So instead of hoping your potential sponsor is familiar with your work, include a brief description of your nonprofit and statistics about your mission as well. You also want to make sure to include your event's name, date, start time, and location. While you want to keep this section short and sweet, it's also important to include other key details, such as if your event is going to include a silent auction, and also what your fundraising goal is. You also want to always include a response deadline in any sponsorship request. It's rare that you're going to get 100% of your sponsors during your first round of outreach, so give yourself enough time to reach out to another round of sponsors. You also want to share the specifics of what those sponsorship benefits we mentioned earlier are. So if you listed promotional opportunities for some of your sponsorship levels, break down exactly what that means. And you also want to let them know how to purchase their sponsorship. If you're using Qgiv, we can help with that. Through your event registration form, you can create sections on your form where attendees go to buy tickets, and then add a section with sponsorship packages there for purchase. Of course, you can always create an unlimited number of forms and events in case you want to keep standard ticket purchases and sponsorships separate. Now, if you're looking for more information about sponsorship packets, we'll be including resources in our email follow-up tomorrow. Now, arguably the most important thing, make sure you're delivering on the brand exposure for your sponsors. So start your search for sponsorships early enough to give you ample time to design and print signage or other materials, and then get them all delivered. Logo placements can go in so many different places: email appeals, event pages, thank you emails, signage, and so on. So make sure it's clear what levels of sponsorship correspond with which kinds of placements. Again, your fundraising tools can help you here to specifically call out your sponsors. So you can add your sponsor logo with custom event receipts. You can add them to your event pages, place them on your live display on site at your event. These are all easy and free ways to provide value to sponsors using the Qgiv platform. And I can't emphasize this enough. Thank your sponsors personally at your event. So have your event MC shout out your sponsors, especially if your sponsors are sponsoring portions of your event. Make sure to give your MC the timings of those different parts of your event so they can make that announcement and plan ahead of time. If your sponsors are attending your event, have board members meet and greet your sponsors and get a little bit of FaceTime in with them. Get to know them a little better. And then after your event, keep it going by sending a thank you letter and an update on how their sponsorship helped your organization fund your work and how they made an impact. Now, hopefully you won't experience any major issues or emergencies at your event, but if you do, it's great to have a plan in place. There's no way that we can cover every disaster or eliminate all troubles, but we can address potential issues and categorize them into major and minor issues. So consider a major emergency as an event-ending issue if there is not a backup plan, or if it will create a poor experience for other attendees if they are witness to it. So first, start by making a list of potential crisis situations around your events and start planning ahead. This might include inclement weather, especially if parts of your events are outdoors, vendor delays or cancellations, emergencies like medical emergencies or a fire, unruly attendees, and power outages. Now that you've made your list, it's time to make your contingency plans. So plans like checklists are wonderful. Having contingencies planned out will help you mitigate issues as well as provide a clear plan of action based on what the situation is. So what should you include in your plans? The first is communications and messages. You can write these messages ahead of time so that when something pops up, it's a quick click and send. So for example, inclement weather. In the case of inclement weather, know where to move your event inside and then add that information to an emergency message that you can store and then send to all attendees when something happens. You want to make sure that you consider all of your audiences. So your volunteers, staff, and vendors probably need different information in the case of an emergency than your attendees. So make sure to give them that information. You also want to consider how you're communicating. Are you communicating through email, text, in-app notifications? Quick, clear, and frequent communication is going to be super appreciated during a time of crisis, and it's also going to protect your organization's reputation on how well you manage the safety of your attendees. You also need to consider who is responsible for what. So think about your stakeholders. How can you delegate responsibilities and make sure that everybody knows how those responsibilities are being delegated? Some things also require extra training. So for example, unruly attendees can be really difficult to manage because you want all of your attendees to, of course, have a great time. So establishing a code of conduct here and training your volunteers and staff to handle these situations sensitively and professionally is so important. Medical emergencies can be more common with events like a peer-to-peer race and require a little bit of extra speciality and information and expertise. So make sure to have reserved emergency medical services if you're doing an event that requires that. Now, also consider what's the alternative should something not be followed through on. So for example, vendor delays and cancellations. This can be really difficult to manage, but you can pad in extra time during your event setup schedule to account for any possible delays ahead of time. And when choosing vendors, ask them whether they have contingencies should they need to cancel. And in the case of a cancellation, ask your vendors for a list of recommendations for replacements. You need to make sure to have a plan for everything: venue, entertainment, food, technology, and so on. You never know what's going to pop up at your event. And now we've arrived. It's the day of your event. It's go time, and all the planning you've done up until now has set you up for success. But there are a few things that you can keep in mind to ensure your event goes as smoothly as possible. The first thing is to have a checklist of to-dos and copies of your event schedule, event layout, and anything else you need. You can distribute these event schedules and the layout to key volunteers, staff, and vendors. Make sure everyone knows their responsibilities during the event setup. So where they can direct vendors, where to place items, all that stuff. Periodically check in with everyone to make sure everything is proceeding as planned. But by giving everyone an event schedule they can reference, they can keep track of those timings themselves. You also can designate a go-to volunteer or staff member or members who would be available to take care of any last-minute things that pop up. Missing an extra extension cord, short on programs, and need an extra stack printed, that designated volunteer or staff member can take care of it. You also can create an event day binder to keep track of a variety of things. So that includes site maps, vendor phone numbers for key staff and volunteers, your run of show, extra copies of program scripts. And you also want to make sure sponsor amenities are all accounted for, including signage or need to do stage shout outs. Make sure you stay organized and do what you said you would do, or you might lose your sponsors. You can also get a little bit of networking in. You can meet potential volunteers and people who might be interested in getting more involved with your organization. And you can also get some face time with your major donors. Show them how much you value their support and get to know them better. Now, I want to thank everyone for joining today. We're going to get to Q&A here in a moment. Earlier this year, Qgiv joined the Bloomerang team to offer a modern giving platform that puts relationships at the heart of fundraising. This combined solution unifies your donors' activities, giving you the power to acquire new donors, cultivate impactful relationships, and maximize the potential of your donor communities. If you're interested in learning more and you are a Qgiv customer, feel free to email us at support@qgiv.com with any questions you have about Qgiv's online fundraising tools and the Bloomerang acquisition. If you're not a Qgiv client and you're just curious about using the Qgiv platform, it's really easy to request a demo. Just visit qgiv.com/demo-request and fill out the form. And if you're looking for more best practices, visit qgiv.com/blog and check out our collection of fundraising blogs and free resources. And now we can move on to our Q&A.
Which volunteer management app did you suggest, Tiara?
I suggest Bloomerang's volunteer management app. It's got all those features that I talked about during the presentation and much, much more that we didn't even touch on. So you'll have to uncover the mystery to find out.
We can add that into the follow-up, probably. Yes, a link to that. A lot of the functionality and that you can expect with volunteer management tools that we've discussed, you can find them all in there. So we'll send a follow-up to that for you. Which credit card scanner works with Qgiv?
I'll take this one. So we actually have 3 different types of credit card readers that are encrypted just for Qgiv. So it's the only credit card readers that we'll work with for security purposes. And that we have one that is the Lightning reader or the USB-C. We have a Bluetooth reader and we have a USB reader. So it just depends on what you need for your specific event.
Oh, Brittany, if you want to elaborate a bit on how you get the readers.
Oh, yes. Just send us an email to support@qgiv.com and let us know which readers you would like. In our help desk, we also have, if you type in card readers or mobile card readers, either will work. You can actually see images of everything that we have available too. So you can kind of get a better idea of the look and feel of what we do offer. And then Jennifer said, for those who are new to Qgiv through Bloomerang integration, are events included in the primary integration? So with our Giving Plus clients, our standard event registrations are included. That's going to be just registrations out of the box where you can sell tickets. Doesn't have to have a cost associated. We support free and monetary tickets for our events, QR code check-in, guest management, table management, all of that good stuff. Peer-to-peer events and auction events are an additional add-on, but we do have self-serve pricing, so you add the package when you need it and you turn it off when you're finished.
We need an option, cash at door at the checkout for an event we are planning in Qgiv. Is this possible?
Cash at door, like you need to take payments as they are registering? Yes, or if you're taking like on-site registrations, if that's what you're asking, yes. We do have that option with our mobile virtual terminal app or our virtual terminal. So it just depends on which one or how your event check-in or at the door check-in looks.
Oh man, now they're starting to roll through. I would like to create an event in Qgiv for a week-long conference, but I need a checkbox box option for multiple items. Is this functionality available?
Without really understanding exactly what you mean by a checkbox option for multiple items, is that multiple tickets or add-on options in part of their registration? I believe so, just without knowing your specific use case. I would highly recommend reaching out to our customer experience team at support@qgiv.com or give us a call at 888-855-9595 so we can actually dig into your specific use case. We have free and unlimited support and training, so there's no additional cost to reaching out to the customer experience team.
Always love that. Is the Qgiv virtual event layout feature free? So this is either part, it is not. It is part of our Giving Essentials package. So that will include the table seating functionality for you to build out the virtual layout of what you want to see at your event. So adding in tables, adding in seats. I've built like other different like areas, like if you wanted to add in like where your food tables are and stuff like that, you can absolutely do that and like build out that virtual layout. But that is included either in our Giving Essentials package or in the Giving Plus package that we have with through Boomerang. Does Qgiv offer virtual management services during an event? I think you're asking, do we have support time for our clients for your events? And we do have, Brittany, if you want to answer that one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So for virtual management services, if you're meaning, do we offer like virtual support during your event? We do. We do have an option for remote support or on-site support at a cost. For virtual management services during an event, if you're not talking about on-site support specifically, and more of like the actual management when you're at your event, like we do have the app, like I mentioned. That's Amanda. She's my gal. So if you want to email me or if you want to get on a call, we can talk about that more in person or more in depth too.
So Jamie, I believe what you're following up on is the cash option with the, how does that fit into the registration process for the event form? So the cash option for registration would have to be before, correct, Brittany? They would have to like physically do that through the virtual terminal.
They would create the package like for on-site tickets or on-site sales or whatever, and you can make it private so people who are registering ahead of your event don't see that option. It's just something that you would see internally on the back end, and then that's what you would be able to register people, like take their information and get their payments and get them through the door.
And yeah, Jamie, definitely reach out to support. I know that they're absolutely happy to help you through all of that, and talk through your specific use case and walk you through how to do it. Because we can only tell you we can do it. We can't show you on the call. Let me see. Can you provide the link for the credit card scanners? I can't find it on your website. Tiara, do you know where that lives in the help desk?
Yeah, I can definitely add that to the follow-up email. You'll get it tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. We struggle with rest stop volunteers not understanding that the bike ride rest stops are out on the bike routes. Every year, I have at least one rest stop group show up at the festival and don't want to go out to the rest stop location. I've sent emails, set up volunteer training, and tried to make it clear that the rest stop is not on our main campus. Any suggestions on how to make it more clear? From this perspective, it sounds like you're doing all the right things for the communication perspective. I think one of the things that I have found to be successful when either working as a volunteer or helping coordinate volunteers is making that volunteer training very much mandatory, and then providing all of that information upfront to them. So if you're not making that volunteer training mandatory, I would suggest looking at that, as well as if you have a way to create a map of the bike route and mark where the volunteers are going, as well as call that out into their volunteer sheet, I think that would be the best way to make that as clear as possible, so that everyone knows exactly what they're getting into. Let's see. Was there a chat that I missed? Alicia says, I have a hard time delegating tasks for the event, and I often try to be in several places at one time. Any advice on developing a better management style? LOL. I think a lot of us struggle when we're leading big projects, right? Whether it's you are feeling ownership over that event and you want to make sure that everything goes as perfect as possible, so you like to have your hands in the cookie jar and everything, or you are you just want to make sure that everything is getting done, so you kind of have everything in there. So from a management style, I think what Tiara was mentioning earlier with getting your list of priorities down is really step one. What are all the things that need to be done? When I personally feel overwhelmed, that's exactly what I do. I put everything down on a list. I start listing all of my tasks on there, and then scheduling out, like, what do I absolutely need to do and who can help me offload that task. So that'd be step one. And with my suggestion, just get it all written down, and start looking through like who can help you with what. I know that a lot of nonprofits are small shops. And so it can be hard to get other people to help delegate. But if you do have anything that's possible on that list, that's what I would suggest. Just try to figure out who can help chime in and jump in and help you out with wherever you can. There's other things too, if you have the funds to hire an external event coordinator or someone else that can help jump in there. Or if you want to start bringing in volunteers into the event management process and start delegating out some of those tasks, those are all options to help free up your time. Great questions. Great questions.
Awesome. I'm not seeing anything else rolling in here. So I just want to take the time again to thank everybody for showing up today, for asking some awesome questions. I will be including all the resources that I can in the follow-up email tomorrow. So keep an eye out on your inbox for that. We've got tons of great event registration, event management resources to share. So definitely don't miss that. Yeah, thank you guys so much and have a great Tuesday afternoon. Bye, everyone.